And yeah, like Walt said, you're not here to see me, you're here to see the people here at my table. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Vice President and General Manager, Mr. John Hildebrandt.
Thank you, Ryan, very much. So welcome to Cedar Point. We're glad to have you here, all of you. And then the common expressions among the full-time staff is who's in charge of the weather. On good days, of course, everybody is. On bad days, you can't find anyone. Not sure who's in charge today. But somebody has to take the blame for the northwest wind now. Sailors have a name on the Great Lakes for the northwest wind. They call it the witch. I'd say the witch was on her broomstick today. So we're glad you're here. Those of us who love the park, love it on just about any kind of day. Cedar Point in the off-season, particularly in the depths of winter like today, has its own special beauty. I'm glad you had an opportunity to see it. How many of you saw any eagles today? Cedar Point is a famous wintertime hangout for bald eagles. Typically, we see 2 or 3 a day in various parts of the peninsula. A couple of weeks ago, out at Lighthouse Point, out by the pier that goes out into Sandusky Bay, there's a big tree there. We counted 8 eagles. Right about 11:30, 12 noon. 4 or 5 were fully mature white-headed eagles, and 2 or 3 immature. Pretty exciting. So it's pretty quiet on the outside, but inside there's a lot going on. We had ride mechanics working today, getting our rides ready for 2012. We call it winter rebuild. It's a huge task. I don't think perhaps well understood or appreciated by the average guest, but that's okay. We're supposed to worry about that. We're supposed to have fun. But every year, really, every off-season, it's a race to get coaster trains off the ride, stripped, inspected, parts replaced, put everything back together again, and get back out on the rides and tested and ready for opening day. Not an easy task at all. I know all of you are fans of Cedar Point. You have affection for this place, and it is a place that is unique in all the world. I know all of you spend a lot of time here. Many of you I know, I've known for years, and many are faces I recognize just from walking on the road. A little about me. I've been here a long time. I worked one summer as a ride operator on the Frontier Lift, and way back in 1969. I became full-time in 1974, except for 1 year at Jordan Park, park in Allentown. I've been here ever since. So if I have the math right, I think it's 37 seasons at Cedar Point and 38 in the industry. I was born in Cleveland in 1949 on the west side. Grew up there, went to St. Edward High School. After college, graduate school, and a brief stint in the U.S. Army, I needed a job. I was living at home, and my father, who was very old school, thought I should be living somewhere else. So I answered an ad at the Cleveland Plain Dealer. Cedar Point was looking for a staff writer. I had been an English major in college, and if there was anything I knew that I could do, it was write. Besides, I had worked seasonally at Cedar Point, just with the entertainment business, roller coasters. It's not the point. It sounds like fun. So I applied. By some minor miracle, I got hired. If you remember, my starting salary was $165 per week, which works out $8,500 per year, and I really thought I had it made. And I did, as it turned out. I've had a wonderful career at Cedar Point. I did have a kind of family connection to the park. One of my brothers worked as a bellman at Hotel Breakers for 2 years. Another was a captain on the Western Cruise. Another worked in games. My sister worked at a food stand on the beach for a season. There's a picture up in my office of my father, my uncle, and my aunt taken in 1942 on the Cedar Point Midway. My mother took the picture. My father's in his Army uniform. And I can locate the picture pretty well because in the background, you can locate a C and a Y. It's the C and the Y of Cyclone on the front of the loading station for the Cyclone roller coaster, which is located about where disaster transport and the space pilot are today. I met my wife at Cedar Point. She worked for the Sandusky Register's news report. I met her the first summer I worked at the park. We were married just before the start of the 1975 season. She had never worked at Cedar Point. She grew up on Long Island, just outside of New York City. But in 2005, she started working at Cedar Point as a makeup artist during Halloween weekends. She's been working every Halloween weekend since. I love the history and tradition of Cedar Point, and I'm sure most of you do as well. The history is all around you at Cedar Point, and if you let it, it can really get almost intoxicating, really. Walking around the park, I can imagine what it must be like to ride and meet the dips, or the cyclone. Picture Newt Rockney as a lifeguard, hurrying back to throw his fellow teammate and lifeguard to Custoria pass on the Cedar Point Beach, which happened about 100 yards where we are right at this moment. My office is in the Coliseum, second floor. My back door goes out into the ballroom. So walking through it at night, summer or winter, I can sometimes hear the Tommy Dorsey orchestra. But as our new CEO, Matt says, and Matt is absolutely right about this, history should be respected, but not revered. We are not Gettysburg National Military Park, or Monticello, or Plymouth Rock. Cedar Point is an amusement park, a business that must change or die. Too much reverence for the past will also be a roadmap to oblivion. Paddle wheel excursions. I miss paddle wheel excursions just like many of you do. It's been morphed into dinosaurs alive. What happens at Cedar Point and happens at any business that's continuing to grow and thrive is change. And it can be very positive. Look at the, many of you have been here during Halloween, we have the Dead Rock Cemetery up in front. I smile every time I walk past it, I see Frontier Lift there, my old ride. 1969, which went away in 1985. That's part of Cedar Point is growth and change. And, it has to take place. So I want to talk a little bit about what's new, how we are changing, frankly, what's in it for you guys. Yes. While dinosaurs alive on Adventure Island, that's something we thought of. The idea came from Kings Island, as many of you know, I think. Their marketing vice president, Matt Schaefer, saw a dinosaur exhibit at a museum in Cincinnati last winter. I thought it might work at Kings Island as an extra charge attraction. We got together with a company that called Dinosaurs on Earth in Vancouver, Canada. And before they knew it, they had 60 or 70 animatronic dinosaurs on a mile-long wooded walkway at Kings Island. And it was successful from the jump. And now it's been imported to Cedar Point, Torrey Park, Kings Dominion, and Cannon's Run. I think it will be very successful. Each of us has put a kind of different spin on the attraction. Ours is the only one on an island, so it's Dinosaurs Alive on Adventure Island. And we think that'll add to the appeal. Our walkway is shorter, and we have fewer dinosaurs. We have arranged our dinosaurs in a way we think that will create some very, very dramatic scenes. The presentation is great. The sound system is going to blow you away. It's designed to appeal to families, and I think that'll be very good. The foundations are all poured now. We got the bids in for the walkway just yesterday. Everything looks good. We're going to start pouring the walkway next week, by the end of next week. The dinosaurs themselves arrive toward the end of March. We're going to have a life-size T-Rex outside the main gate. I guarantee you he's going to be popular with that racer at Soap City. It's no secret Soap City needed some new blood, some new attractions. Last summer, we addressed some of the infrastructure by putting in the Tops ice cream and pizza stand and subway stand. This year, we're adding new product, new slides. And that racer, I think, is going to be a favorite. You're actually going to get to race your fellow racers down the slide. I think it'll be very popular. We also reconditioned our main slide complex, painted each of the slides. Go back to 1988, they've been, the color of these walls ever since. Now we painted them. Have any of you drive by, did you notice it this morning? $100 difference. Why didn't you do this yesterday? Fast lane right now. Another new product for Cedar Point, but one that was tested at several other Cedar Fair parks last season.
Chocolate chip.
Guests will have the option of purchasing an upgraded ticket. Actually, it's a wristband that will give them access to the ride platform on 18 of our most popular rides, including Millennium Force, Outfield Dragster, Maverick, Raptor. This is not a walk up the exit pass. It will still be a wait, a little shorter than if you use the main queue line. We're going to sell a limited number of fast lane wristbands every day. How many you would ask, I don't know. So we're going to figure it out as we go along. We have a couple of ideas. Pricing, the price for one person will be $50. And we'll drop to as low as $30 for 5 or more purchase. You'll be able to buy it online and at the park. We're going to have a similar program for our mazes during our weekends. Cedar Point has made a major commitment to make the park more fully accessible to our special needs guests. We are spending upwards of $1 million this off-season to improve access to restrooms, food stands, retail stores, restaurants, swimming pools, and rides. Virtually, we're touching every restroom, and every food stand, and every restaurant in the park. Premium parking, we're going to introduce a premium parking option for our guests this year, something that's been very popular at a lot of our other parks. The area is going to be a portion of the Space Spiral lot adjacent to the main entrance. This winter, we worked out a partnership with Best Locker Company to replace all our old lockers with new electronic lockers. And I know this is going to improve guest service on many levels. These lockers use a PIN number, not a thumbprint like Universal or some others do. You'll be able to do it with a credit card. It will be very fast and efficient and safe. If any of you in the Wildwater Kingdom recently, they have that locker system there. It works very well there. Halloween weekends, as you know, a very successful event for us, which has grown tremendously in the past 14 years. It's no secret, our busiest days of the season now are the Saturdays in October. Jam-packed. So with the introduction of Dinosaurs Alive, we need to find a new home for Terror Island. It's one of our most successful scare zones and very, very popular. I will tell you it hasn't been easy. We had a meeting, in fact, yesterday afternoon, I think we finally came up with a plan. The hint on people is that it will be in Frankfurt, but no more than that. But stay tuned for further developments. We're also hoping to retheme one of our existing bases as well. Season passes, new this year is the installment plan. You can spread the purchase of your season pass for monthly payments. And over 500 guests take advantage of that just in the last several seasons. It's a very positive addition. Our website has undergone a complete makeover, as I'm sure you all have noticed. Top to bottom, and like any good website, it's a work in progress. It's evolving. It's always changing. Our goal is simple: to make it more user-friendly and make it so guests can make purchases, make reservations, make plans in advance. Do it before they get to the park. Live entertainment. A lot of our live entertainment package changes every year. 2012 is no exception. We're going to have an all-new ice show in the Good Time Theater. Happiness is Sleepy on Ice. The show debuted at Knott's Berry Farm last fall. It was very popular. We're also going to have new shows in the Red Garter and a new show for the Palace Theater. We're adding a new retail shop to our Breakers Express Hotel on Cedar Point Drive. And speaking of Cedar Point Drive, who else besides me is tired of driving over that crappy pavement? The city of Sandusky has finally come through. They got a federal grant, and they're going to skin the top layer of asphalt this spring. And they promised us when they'll be done. And it'll be all brand new black top. It'll look really nice. Part of the deal is they're also going to be putting in walkways on the east side and a bike path. Really? Which is one of the reasons you're seeing all those trees now this morning. How many noticed all the trees were gone? Come on, morning guys. That's new too. Our new CEO, Matt Remat, has initiated a new focus on food quality at all Cedar Point parks. I think we'll see a difference. Cedar Point, for example, we're returning to the original recipe for our famous fresh cut fries. As I mentioned in one of my tweets, Blue Streak, Giant Wheel, and Millennium Force will all give you Actually, the Bloody and Forest project spans 2 seasons, because we did start painting last year. Notice some track. We had to take a break, obviously, during the operating season. We weren't able to do any last fall for a couple of reasons. We're going to do a lot this spring, and we probably won't be able to finish it until this fall. It's a big roller coaster. It's hard to get at some of those spots.
Yeah.
It's a very, very big, expensive, multi-year project. But we fortunately don't have to do it every year. The Millennium Force has not been painted since it was opened in 2000, so we got a good run out of the existing paint job. The street needs new paint as well, and giant wheel, of course. Giant wheel is going to get a whole new license.
Woo!
Luminosity. The Alexa is going to talk to you about luminosity in a few minutes, so I'm not going to steal any of her thunder. She has a lot of fun. This is a great story. Guest satisfaction at Cedar Point, or any amusement park for that matter, is largely determined by what thing? How many rides you run, right? And which ones? Certainly. This year, we're adding 2 new ride mechanics to our staff. 2 new electrical controls technicians, which is going to help downtime, which is going to help our ride. It's part of our commitment to guest service. We do take that very, very seriously. The first thing I do in the morning in the summertime, I get up, I go to my computer at home, I log on to Cedar Point. I look at a document that shows what the ride downtime was for all the major rides at Cedar Point the day before. And I'm looking, I'm calculating, and wondering why this went up, this went down, and I make phone calls right away. We put in a software system last year called Ride Management, where on my computer desk, on a screen on my computer at my office, and a lot of other offices in the park, we can look at every ride in the park. And know whether it's up or whether it's down, and if it's down, what the problem is, and how long it's been there. You stay on top of it. It's the #1 driver of guest satisfaction. How many rides you ride, how long you have to wait, which rides you ride. We're serious about that. Like I said at the beginning, I'm a PointBuzz fan. I visit the site often. I read what you have to say about the park. A lot of other people at Cedar Point do too. I'm always amazed at the affection we have for the park. There are suggestions and ideas for improving it, making it better, come right from the heart. I know that. Some of them are not always practical. I haven't figured out yet how to build a 500-foot roller coaster. It also goes under Lake Erie. I'm also amazed at how much you know about the park. You notice the little things. Little things are important. Little things become big things. When you're at the park, you see me on the Midway, please stop and say hello. Walking the Midway, talking to guests, talking to employees, best part of my job, period. It's what they pay me to do. It's the only way to really know what's going on. If there's something you like, please, don't hold back, tell me. If there's something you don't like, absolutely tell me. During the season, I'm here every day. Tuesday, hopefully the exception, where I can. And I'd love to talk to you. Or email me, jhildebrandt@cedarpoint.com. I will tell you I get a lot of emails. I may not be able to respond in person. I will certainly forward it to somebody who can respond to whatever issue you have or comments you have. So again, thanks for coming today. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you on the Midway. Any questions? Probably almost any questions. Anybody have any questions?
Seriously? The lighting system on Tranquil going to be LED?
Yes, it will. I hope so. You know, we're always talking about that. I'm a big dark ride fan. I think every great amusement park needs to have a dark ride. You know, needs to have a carousel, needs to have a ride, needs to have a wood roller coaster, which we put them down the list. If you're starting from scratch and building one, you certainly want one. Through a variety of circumstances, we haven't been able to do it. Other things have taken priority, but is certainly on the active list of future considerations. If they're rain or shine, their family, you have, teenagers to have fun with them, you can make it interactive, all good stuff.
Earlier you were talking about the ride pass armband. Is that going to replace the handstands that you give out? Or?
We haven't done that in a number of years,
Okay.
but, so it's really different than that. We will still have, a VIP program. Some of you may be aware of that. That's a very special escorted service for groups up to 6 people who want to be escorted around the park. Those folks do go up the exit. It's, I think, $375 per person. We actually sell a number of them, but any given day, it's impact on the park that, we have. But if you really want to treat somebody, it's great. Any other questions? Favorite ride. Well, I love all my children. But I'd probably say Millennium Force.
Yeah.
I've ridden a lot of roller coasters. That's the best combination of everything. There's not a time I've ever ridden it where you just don't get up and say, wow. It's so exciting. It's so speed driven. It's got. I remember thinking when we were doing Terror Island, we were putting all these props and stuff out there on the island, and we were all worried about it. Well, it's going to look kind of junky and different and everything for people riding the ride. But you're going so freaking fast. So that's a great one. I mean, Top Thrill is fantastic too, and the launch, and that's a one-of-a-kind experience. Watching people, I spent a lot of time on the deck there watching people, and people are certainly more nervous about that launch, or about riding that ride, than any other ride. You just have never, you don't see that anyplace else. I mean, you watch those people, and that, it used to be, 3, 4, 5, 6, you had more people that were first time. Some were just petrified. Just nice, teasing when I stand on the platform. They'd say, well, how many times have you ridden? I'd say, 38, 39. Oh, no, impossible. But that's a great ride. But I like the sky ride. There aren't many of those left in business, actually. And we have one of the few. It's a great family ride. It's a beautiful view at night. The lights, the lake at day. It's great. Blue Streak is still a great ride. Great traditional coaster. So yeah, kids are all great. Yes.
You've been doing higher than average amount of work to Main Street the last 2 months.
Yes.
I'll make huge difference last year.
Thank you.
I'm curious, is this the last year, or are you going to be continuing that, shutting it down during Halloween?
We're not sure about whether we'll shut it down to Halloween this year or not. It depends on how much work we get done this spring, and what we think we need, how much time we think we need between the end of this season and the start of next season. And we're always trying to calculate that. The Main Street, you can't work usually December, January, February. Our carpenters are great, highly skilled. When you get up on that structure, when there's ice and snow, and winds like today, you get very inefficient, and it's just not safe. So you're really limited to what you can do before Thanksgiving in the spring. And, big wooden roller coasters are enormous maintenance. They just are. There are 2 ways about it. And that's why you don't see big ones built like that. You won't in the future. The wooden roller coaster is now 100 to 125 foot. And you've made dramatic improvements. You've got to invest the time. There's no 2 ways about it. Just to check the Main Street every morning, it's over an hour. You walk the track every day. 2 carpenters walk left to front to back. Anything else? Well, again, thanks, guys, and I'm going to introduce the Electricus, our VP Marketing, who has really great stuff coming.